My whole entire career, I have basically said yes to people.
But that works in radio, right? Like that's a big thing in radio. It's like you can't say no to anyone. You have to just constantly be taking every opportunity. Like, anything someone says, you're like, okay, cool. This is a chance for me to like do something.
Absolutely. So, I mean, I said yes all the time, but some of it is not always positive.
Mm.
It comes, I mean, I remember there were a few years where I had said yes to a whole bunch of charity work. I mean, I climbed fucking Kilimanjaro. I am not an exercise person, as I've
You've also
mentioned.
walked to fucking Maritzburg.
Yeah, exactly. None of this was like part of my vibe at all, but I did a lot of charity work and it actually exhausted me. And I remember that at one point my kids were like, you have to make time for us. You like training, you're at work, etc., etc. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is like really shocking that that's what I'm doing. I'm just saying yes to stuff. And I also, people will message me, my students or whoever, they'll message me and they'll like, Kath, please, I'm in a bind. Can I please borrow some money? I mean, well, it's never borrow, actually. I mean, it's never ever borrow. It's, can I please have some money? And I'm really happy to help people. But I also realized that that's where I have to come first and my family has to come first.
Sure.
I will often put other people first instead of myself. And then at the end of the month, I'm sitting like, I can't even buy a loaf of bread, but I gave that person 500 Rand to get through the month.
I mean, that sounds like my mom growing up. Like we had similar situations where, yeah, she'd be helping everyone. And then at the end of the month, it's like, yeah, beans on toast.
Exactly. And so it was a huge thing for me was to learn to say no. And it's also okay to say no. I can't save the world. I can't like look after every human being. I do, however, have to prioritize myself and my kids. Like that is the bottom line. So that's been a beautiful life lesson. And also like I used to also say yes to a lot of things like, yes, I'll go and talk at this thing. Yes, I'll do this. Yes, I'll do that. And actually some of it, like it just wasn't where I should have been, I would then have like sheer anxiety about it. And that
And
wasn't good
also,
for,
I
for
know
my
for
mental
myself,
health.
yeah, like with some of that kind of stuff, the public speaking things and panel discussions and this and that, like you can just they can just be a waste of your time sometimes. Like they can honestly just not benefit anyone involved. Like it's just a haphazard thing that people
Mm,
put together that sometimes are almost like scams, So
yes.
yeah, I've learned from that.
Yeah. Am I going to drive an hour to go and speak to 5 people? Because that's not where I'm at the moment. And it's not saying I want to speak to 500 people. And maybe I do change, lives in that moment. Maybe someone in the 5, but it's the spending the money on petrol, all of that time, and it wasn't a positive experience. So
Yeah.
now I'm very selective. I listen to my gut. I'm like, is this going to be good? Is this going to be a good thing for you? And then it's a yes or a no. And it's also okay. It's okay to say no. I mean, Jane Fonda said it took her 60 years to learn that no is a full sentence. And when I heard that, I was like, fuck yes. That is going to be my thing from now on. No is a full sentence. It's okay. I don't have to explain anything to you. I'm just saying no.